I am so very late. Sorry, y'all. I am sending so much love. And we are finally going to go in there and have some fun. This is the Atheist Call-In Show, Theist Helpline. This is sending so much love to you all. We don't even have graphics or anything for this yet. However, we're just going to have fun and go in there. And yeah, please don't forget to like, subscribe, all of the wonderful things out there. Hitting that bell icon allows you to see premieres and join our live streams. Like, what is up? What is up? What is up, Pat and Shane and Sumami and Zokalox and Udif? Woohoo! What is up, davegar? What is up, everybody out there? And keep on saying hi. I'll say hi. What's up, Robert? And yeah, we're gonna see if we can get convinced that there is indeed a God today. Boo-doo-boo. So give me a second to just get into the Discord. I think T-Jump said he couldn't find anyone in PNR tonight, so we're going into politics. Let me get the old screen share. The new screen share. The old one, just as good. Haha. And let's hope that we have everything set up and have some fun. Oh my. Sup, Scott and Captain RedBull. Socialex. I'm gonna get it right. Indeed. Oh, can you guys not hear them?
Of God on this earth.
I'm sorry,
Do we
guys.
agree?
I thought you guys were hearing the conversation.
I mean, I don't care whether it's a miracle or not. I don't think miracles
But
are well
do you hear the
defined. But if it's a
conversation now?
novel prediction about the future, that's what I need
Oh
for
my,
evidence. I
oh
don't care
my,
about
oh
the miracle
my.
part.
See, this is why I need to ask every
Okay.
time.
Do you agree that
Please,
could we
mind me,
agree? I mean,
guys.
could we
Hopefully
agree
it'll
that
get
miracles
easier
are
with each
actions
episode.
of God on earth?
Sure, you can define them that way. I don't care.
You don't, yeah, but just for the sake of conversation, so that we are on the same page. Okay, so if we agree that Jesus coming back, Jesus being God, or is he not God in your example?
Don't know. It's too confusing. Trinity is not a coherent concept.
Okay, cool. So let's say he is. Therefore, there is God acting into this world. There is a miracle happening to you, or at least to the people on earth, and a miracle would convince you. Am I correct right now, or am I saying something wrong?
Yes, I don't really care about miracles. I just care about predictions. So if you're one of the predictions you call a miracle, then sure.
Is that any better, guys?
Yeah. Are all the predictions miracles? Basically, actions of God on this earth?
No, they wouldn't need to be. I wouldn't care if they were miracles or not.
I mean, from the list that you told, I heard earlier, I thought
they
all of those
they wouldn't matter
were...
if they were acts of God or not. So God could make predictions about future events, like something about chips in the forehead or the palm or whatever. Like that doesn't need to be an act of God to be a prediction.
What if it happened in the past? Like there was a testable prediction that appears to happen, and then, well, the time passed. I mean, other events after we are now, and then all those has been now past. Is that something that you would find convincing, or does it need to be in your future?
If you could confirm it was an actual future prediction, that would be evidence.
Yeah, like you look into history, and then you find some prediction from God, and then the thing happened, and then well, you were born, and now we're now. Are these, well, if they are?
Yeah, like if we discovered there was a Bible written 10,000 years ago that said DNA is a double helix, the world is 4.5 billion years old, the universe is 13.8 billion years old. Yeah, that would be great evidence.
These kind of things. Yeah, okay. So they would talk about stuff that we couldn't predict using, well, there is too much
Sky
luck.
Daddy magic, yes.
Yeah. I'm thinking of it, and I'm thinking of, you know how those Nostradamus people claim that he was predicting the future, and
if he got it right all the time, that would be great evidence of whatever his worldview was.
Yeah. But I don't think let me think if there is a way to be convinced. I don't know if there is a way to look at the history in the past, and two events. One will be what is written in the Bible, and the second one would be what really happened. Make them coincide, and not say it's just a coincidence. It's not really prediction. We would need to have the time stamp or something, the date, the time, and it's a second, like too much precision in the prediction.
No, that wouldn't be too much precision. That would be
just enough.
Sufficient amount precision to know it was an actually prediction, which an all-powerful being would be capable of pretty easily. Like if God knows everything, he'd know Donald Trump will be president in year 2020. He could just written that in the Bible somewhere. No problem. It's not. Is that too much for God? Is God too impotent to be able to do that?
Yes, he can't. So
okay.
Yeah. So when you understand where the trouble is coming from, it's coming from the fact that you think that the God you need to be convinced of is a God that knows everything. Am I understanding correctly?
I don't know. That was just the typical understanding of the Christian God. I don't care.
You don't care if he knows everything.
No, I don't care if he knows everything.
So when you say that he should be able to make a prediction as precise as you would want,
was an all-knowing, all-powerful God, that would be the case. So that's only if.
Yeah. But since is not such a thing, we can agree that the testable prediction that you are asking for is not is not possible, right? You're asking for him to draw a square circle, basically.
I'm not sure if God is God. If your God is too stupid to know facts about the future, then he wouldn't be able to predict facts about the future. So you'd have to probably find a different kind of prediction.
Stupid. You need to use the stupid word here. Why?
Yes, like clearly, if he created the universe and can't predict the future, I mean,
do you feel like your argument is not strong enough that you need to use stupid?
Well, stupid doesn't either add or subtract any strength to an argument. It's just a colorful language.
Okay. I thought you were diminishing the power of God by using the stupid word and cursing at him because you felt like he was too strong, and then you needed to diminishing him a little bit your argument.
The creator of the universe is incapable of knowing facts about the future. Yeah, he's got to be pretty stupid. Yeah,
he's got to be.
Yeah, like if he made the universe and he doesn't know what's going to happen in the future. He's got to be pretty dumb. Like, what if you didn't know what was going to happen in the future? Why did you make the universe? What was the point? Like, because you obviously just had no idea. So what was the point of making it in the first place? It's just you could have just farted it out for fun, see what would happen, trial and error. Like, what are you doing?
Do you know? Do you think that he knows? Do you think he's still stupid if he doesn't know how to draw a square circle?
No, that's a logical contradiction. So that would be different than creating a universe and knowing what's going to happen in the future of the universe you create.
So
it's not a logical contradiction there. No logical contradiction.
What if it was?
It's not. So a logical contradiction is saying P and not P. And I never said P and not P. I said God created a universe and knew what was going to happen in the future after.
There it is.
What's the P and not P in that one?
Prediction about the future.
That's P. Where's the not P?
No, prediction is P and the future is not P. Okay, those two things are contradictory to each other. So they are not the same thing.
We have to go back. We got to go back for a second. So basic philosophy. P in an argument is a variable. Variables represent the same thing. So P and not P would be like God and not God. So the P represents God, and then the God is the first part P, God, and not P, not God. So you can't say P is predictions and P is future confirmation. Those are two separate things. Those are not the same thing. Those can't be P and not P because those are not the same thing. P and not P, like a round circle, a round square. A square is by definition a thing that does not have the property of being round. So if you're saying it is a square and not a square, that's P and not P. Saying it's predictions and they are confirmed is not P and not P.
Prediction future is not knowable, so the things that we don't know for sure, and prediction is things that we have knowledge of, not P.
Absolutely none of that was anything I said.
Okay. So P would be we don't know what the future is, and not P would be we do know, or the other way around. Doesn't work?
No, it doesn't.
No?
I
Okay.
never said that. I said my argument is God created the universe
Yeah.
and knows all the things that are going to happen in the universe.
Yeah, and I disagree with the second part.
Right, but it's not a contradiction. There's no square circle. There's no P and not P.
In the prediction about the future, on that phrase, not about the God created the universe and he knows about the future. It's not where I am as talking about. I'm talking about the prediction about the future, meaning able to draw a square circle. That's the analogy I'm making.
Right, and your analogy doesn't work. So, like,
Okay.
the sentence, there is a round square. It's not a square circle. Those are square and circle are two different things. The contradiction is a round square. There can't be a round square because a square is by definition a thing that is not round. And so if you add a round to it, it's therefore a square and not a square, P and not P. Now, my statement was God created the universe and would know all of the facts of what would happen in the future. There is no P and not P there. There's no contradiction in something creating the universe and knowing all the things that'll happen in the future. For me to have a round square kind of analogy, I'd have to say God created the universe and did not create the universe. That would be a P and not P. That would be a round square. I didn't say that. I said God created the universe and knew all of the facts of the future. Another P, I could say God knew all of the facts of the future and did not know all of the facts of the future. That would be a P and a not P. That would be a round square. But saying God created the universe and knows all of the facts of the future, there's no P and not P. There's no round square there. There's
agree.
Nothing in that sentence.
I agree.
Okay.
Okay. So could we talk about those two phrases? Not the things that you said, but the two phrases I want to oppose.
What are the two phrases you want to oppose?
To P or not P.
God is able to predict
Get
the
a
future,
consenting partner.
and God is able to draw a square circle.
Okay.
Okay.
Because predicting the future isn't something I said God could do. Predicting the future is something I would need to be convinced of God. So God wouldn't need to predict the future. He would just know the future.
What's the difference between predicting and knowing?
No, a prediction is something you say will happen and get it right because someone doesn't know it. So, like, it's a prediction from my perspective because I don't already know what's going to happen.
Okay, so if God were to tell you you will eat hamburger tomorrow, he would predict your future, right?
Sure.
And on his worldview, he would just know the future. He's not predicting. Right. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay, I understand correctly. Okay, yeah. So what I wanted to I want to keep the conversation on our end, not God's hands, because we are trying to find things that are convincing that God exists. And one of those things that you find convincing, if he was able. Sorry, I'm French, and sometimes words are coming in the wrong order in my head. So I had trouble with the English from time to time. Sorry about that.
Yeah. So, like, an example would be if you pray and you could heal people who are amputees. So, like, if you pray to God and he heals, a leg regrows, great evidence. Happens every time. Phenomenal.
Yeah, that's another one. I want to stick with we went through that you dying and meeting God, and then Jesus coming back, and then we disagree on what happened when Jesus comes back, and then we are talking about God being able to predict the future right now.
Yeah, so
and
that would
if
be
we
an
go
example of
to
prediction.
God being able to heal amputees, that's another subject. I don't want to.
No, that's prediction. That's an example of predicting the future. So if you can say, I believe God exists. If God exists and I pray to him, he'll heal this amputee's leg. You pray, amputee's leg regrows every time. That would be great evidence. That's a prediction of the future. You're predicting the future. You're saying if God exists, I predict this is going to happen in the future. God isn't predicting anything. He's not the one doing the predictions. You're doing the predictions.
Of course, yes, we are the one who claims that this will happen if we do that. Right? Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, when you say that we are able to predict the future based on what God says, basically that's what you're saying. We are able to predict the future based on what God says. For me, it's similar to say that we are able to draw a square circle based on what God says. That's why I want to have this comparison between square circle and predicting the future. Predicting the future is a nonsense as much as square circle is a nonsense.
So you're saying there's a contradiction between
predict and future.
Reading God's word and expecting it to be true in the future.
No, between predict and future. Between those two words, there are a contradiction as much there are between a square and a circle.
You can't have a prediction between those two words. You can't have a contradiction between those two words because they're different words. Again, P and not P. Predictions and
square
not
and
predictions.
circle.
So that's a square and not square. Circle. Again, it's a round square. The contradiction you're trying to describe is of a round square. Round is the opposite of a property of a square. Squares are not round. So it's square and not square.
Predict.
There is no
knowable.
There's no contradiction.
Not knowable.
There's no contradiction between
the contradiction is to jump.
What?
That is where the contradiction is. You predict is not knowledgeable, and future is not knowledge.
That makes no sense. Predictions aren't knowledge. You're not predicting something because you already know it. You're predicting something you don't know. You expect to be true. So there's no contradiction between future and predict. Literally no contradiction there. That's what all science does this. They predict about things in the future. All science does. All science is already doing this. If there is a contradiction between future and prediction, science wouldn't work. But science does work because there's no contradiction between predicting the future. It's literally all science ever does.
I understand. Okay, so I thought you were talking about the far future, not the close one. You're talking about
there's no difference between the far future and the near future. They're the same thing.
Science can make prediction about the future that is far ahead, millions of years from now.
Billions of years. Science makes predictions about what will happen in billions of years.
Have you how old are you, Tijan?
Potato. I'm potato old. What does that have to do with anything?
What is the biggest size between the prediction of science and the finding of the science that you have witnessed during your life? That's the question?
Let's see. So they predicted that if evolution is true, they would find a transitional fossil between a fish and a lizard in a particular desert, and they used the evidence of something 100 million years ago in order to make a prediction about something they would discover that was 20 million years old, so 80 million years or so.
All right. Okay, I understand better what you mean by predicting the future with science. You based on what we found 18 million years before. We found the future in 18 million years, but not the future from today. It was just a difference of 18 million years between two findings in the past.
No, so they made a prediction about evidence they had from 100 million years ago, and they predicted if this evidence is true as a confirmation of evolution, then in 20 million years or 80 million years, there'll be a transitional fossil. Luckily, they could just go back and look and discover that because it already happened. They could have made that prediction if they existed 100 million years ago, and that would have been fine.
Okay. It's not about what will happen in their future. It's what will happen in the future of the findings that they had.
But do you have an actual point here?
Yeah. It's about the way I see predicting
the Bible would work the same thing. So again, if we discover a Bible that was 10,000 years old that said DNA is a double helix, Earth is 4.5 billion years old. The universe is 13.8 billion years old. These predictions were made 10,000 years ago when the book was written, and we already know them now. But if we discovered the book now, we would know that the book was evidence of predictions, because even if it didn't happen in their time period, it was still confirmed. It doesn't matter if the predictions happen in your life or not. It's irrelevant.
Okay, cool. All right, so God should be able to predict the future. He should be able to write something in the Bible that is appearing next after with enough specificity, not specificity.
Specificity, that is correct. That is the correct word, yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Enough details, right? Is that similar?
Specificity is the same word, yes.
Cool. Thank you very much. So enough specificity so that we won't be able to say, well, it's just because of luck.
No, you can always say it's because of luck. That doesn't matter. Like, you can always say it's because of luck, but that's irrelevant. If you get it right consistently at a higher rate than chance, that's good enough. That's evidence.
Oh, okay. Higher rate than chance. So more than one prediction is necessary because we need more than one time that he is correct in his prediction that we find in the Bible, right?
Sure. Just the exact same standards that are required of any scientific hypothesis.
All right. So, predictions that are in the Bible are predictions that are about morality. So, what they would predict is that you will suffer if you do not follow these rules or these things that I tell you to not do, that are bad. So, those are predictions of what we can find in the Bible, and then we can also observe in the future that population that do not observe those rules suffer and pretty much die.
I do not suffer when I eat lobster. I find it very enjoyable. I do not suffer when I have mixed fabrics. Those are also really nice.
Yeah.
I don't suffer from prostitution. That's pretty fun. I like that. It seems like the Bible got most of these things wrong.
So again, we go back to those Greek and Hebrew translation, understanding of what are those predictions, which are the things that are predicted as wrong to do, and which are not predicted as wrong to do.
Okay,
and
what are the things that you think is a prediction?
What are the things that you shouldn't do today? Is that your question?
No, what are the things that you think are a prediction in the Bible of things that if you do them, it'll be bad or something?
Well, let's say the 10 Commandments, like stealing, killing, lying.
Don't hold anything above God. Is that one the one that's the don't have anything higher than God one?
Oh yeah, the idolatry in French, idols.
Yes, we have tons of those. Most societies that have those do just fine.
Do they?
Yes.
Okay, so let's see what an idol is. An idol is the thing that tells you this is good or bad, and drive you.
No.
Okay, we disagree on what an idol is. What is an idol?
An idol in Hebrew is anything that you worship above God. Anything you love more than God. That's it.
I just also want to point out that we have a very specific American version that does fabulous here.
Yes.
What do you mean? T-Jump is an idol?
No, we just have an American Idol. I'm
sure
they do it all.
American Idols. Sorry, the show. You're talking about the show. So sorry, I didn't get that one.
It is a phenomenon.
A lot of money and entertainment. Okay, so worship more than God. What makes is the stuff is made of idols.
Thou shalt not steal. People steal all the time, and they're billionaires. Let's see what else we got. Thou shalt not make any graven image. People make graven images all the time, like everything. Not affected. No negative effect. Thou shalt not take the Lord thy God name in vain. God is a dumbass. Screw God. God can suck my balls. I just did it 3 times. I'm doing totally fine. No effects. Literally, that happens every day in every society. Let's see. Remember the Sabbath. Keep it
You're
holy.
making fun, right? You're making jokes.
Literally, no one keeps the Sabbath holy. People watch
you're
football.
joking on your interpretation of those
honor
commandments.
Thy father and mother. No, people do not honor their father and mother at all.
So,
Thou shalt not kill. Many murderers are just fine. Literally, most dictators
okay.
kill. Kim Jong-un kills just fine. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Well, then there's 50% of
Kim
America
Jong-un
gone.
is something that you want for the whole world to do, not honoring your father and mothers. You would love your children to not honor you, and stealing, you would love to be stolen from you. And also idols, you want. Well, you're making a list. Allow me to make the list back, right?
Stop. So your claim was that if you do these things, it'll be bad. You will suffer. People do these things all the time. Thou shalt not covet. Like, wow. People do these things all the time, and they do not suffer from these things. These things do not cause suffering. They do not cause a dysfunctional society. In fact, many of these are phenomenon of very functional societies. The more functional society, the more you have a lot of these things. So no, your Bible's prediction is incorrect that if you do these things, it will be bad.
How long before the effects takes place?
I've actually
so
been
far,
doing
it's the
this
entire
with
history of humanity they
them
haven't
for
taken place.
a few
So
weeks
okay,
or months or whatever.
So
I just wanted to start
if
actually
we
streaming it
pick
here.
one,
'Cause I said I was
we
gonna
started with
upload
idols,
it,
and then you
I
wanted
always
to go
procrastinate.
through the others. Could we pick one of
And
those
I'm just
things that you
waiting to
feel
talk. I
that
feel like this is
if
the
we do
conversation right now.
follow them, there is no repercussion on the society?
sure, remember the Sabbath day. Keep it holy. No one gives a crap.
All right. So it's
some societies only have 6-day weeks. They don't even have a Sabbath. It doesn't exist for them, and they're just fine.
Yeah.
For thousands and thousands of years. No effect. Zero effect.
So keep the Sabbath holy. It means take one day off.
It's not at all what it means. No. Keep the
Yes.
Sabbath day holy means give one day to give reverence to God. That's what it means.
Correct. So take one day off of what you usually do and make sure that you turn yourself towards the truth, the good, God.
Yeah, which
That's
people
what
don't do.
it
Again,
means.
many countries are atheists. Many countries don't have 7 days. Many countries don't have days off. Many people have days off and they don't use it for God. They watch football. Like most of the world does not do this and has not done this for all human history, and they were fine.
Most of the world do this, TJ.
No, they literally,
Right.
by definition, do not.
Okay. So when you say that they do not take a day off in a week or
They worship God. They don't work. Okay, I'm done with this guy. I'm gonna go.
Oh, you done? Okay.
Cereal.
Bye.
Amy, you guys can take over for a bit.
Well, and what is up, y'all? I just wanted to know, Luke, if this is the reason why you believe in maybe the Christian God or any God. Is it this line of thinking?
Oh no. The reason why I do believe in God is the prime mover argument.
Oh, would you?
So my reason is different than Teacham's reason for what would convince him. What convinced me was the prime mover argument, and that is the thing that happens to me. But yeah, for Teacham's it's different. It would be noble, testable predictions, things that will happen based on what is predicted in the Bible, and it's a different thing for him than for me.
Well, I agree, and I probably have similar standards, but I am open to argumentation. I just think that, well, would you like to go into things like the prime mover? Would you say it's something like begins to exist?
No, the prime mover is has no cause, the uncaused cause.
Okay, can you give your version of what the argument that convinces you?
Yeah, it's been a while. Sorry, I'm more than 43 years old, right? And have been convinced of God.
Listen, 40 is
20.
the new 30.
Sorry, what?
I said 40 is the new 30. It's okay.
Yeah. That's what they say. Any 10 years you add, you reach like 10 years.
Listen,
That's what happens.
Don't blow my cover.
Anyway, yeah. So what happens is this argument were presented to me more than 20 years ago, and I observed the arguments for and against, and I made a choice. Which are the more likely to be true? Is it possible to have these infinite regress that they call, or is it more likely to have a maker, someone who make the rules? So some mind behind the rules that we are. Yeah. A mind, yeah, like you know how we have chess. Chess is a game that have rules that needs to be followed, and if you don't follow the rule, you stop playing chess. And the argument was nature or physics, if you want to make a bigger picture than nature. Those are rules. They follow rules, and if you don't follow those rules, well, you're not doing physics anymore. You're doing metaphysics or something that are not physics anymore. So all of those two things, the chess gameplay or the game rules, chess rules, and universe rules, let's say, require a mind. So yeah,
I agree with you. The chess rules require a mind. However, can I ask, do you think that there's a difference between something like chess or maybe a different type of sports game, or say the laws of physics, and so the speed of light, or how the water cycle works, or how we get lightning, or things like that?
Is there a difference between those two? No, those are laws.
So you're saying they're exactly the same? That
not exactly. Those
okay.
one
exactly
means that.
I don't want to straw man you. That's true. Yeah. So let's try and say this correctly. But you're saying that they're really on the same playing field, to keep on with our sports analogy?
Yeah. One of those laws are these other laws that you that are not the laws of physics are created by humans, and there are laws of physics that are created by God. That's the difference between those two.
Can I tell you why I disagree? I disagree because I think that one comes from a mind and one comes from a what, and we're able to discover those whats very specifically through science.
What? From a what?
That's true. From a what? That's right.
Okay, sounds like a question. From a what? And from a what? All right. What's a what? An example. Could you tell me comes from a what? Something that comes from a what?
So what would be like? Well, I'll give you both. We used to think lightning came from a who. But we slowly learn that lightning comes from differences in weather. We learned that things like tornadoes, instead of the anger of gods, is actually things like hot air and cold air fronts pushing together. And so it's...
tornadoes and lightnings comes from a what?
Comes from a what? It doesn't come from a who.
Cool. And you're saying that laws of physics comes from a what?
Comes from a what?
Oh shit. The reason why I'm laughing is because you picked the lightning, and you say we have a physical explanation of how lightning works instead of the theistic explanation of how lightning works. So we had a who, Zeus, and now we have a what, differential potential and those kind of thing. So because we have laws of physics, the laws of physics took the place of Zeus. Basically, that's what you're saying. Am I understanding correctly?
I am, and I'm saying that if we were to just extrapolate this out to universe creation, it's not really going to be a creation. It's not going to be a whom. It's going to be a what.
Still have to follow some rules and
Sure.
rule maker, but there are rules that don't need creators. Yeah, I do agree that the rules of logic, for example, do not need a creator. They have not been created per se. They have we still have to follow them if we want to make sense of our lives. But yeah, it's a rule, the rules of logic. Yeah. So you're saying like the rules of logic, all the laws of physics are created as such, like the rules of logic.
Yes,
Is
and
that what you're
the
saying?
laws
Yeah.
of logic, honestly, are things that make us not go insane. It's basically saying everything that is, everything that is cannot, and something can't be and not be at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so,
I do
yes.
agree. It would be insane if we threw out the laws of logic, like the guy earlier said. Logic does not work.
And sure, and I can grant all of those, and I'm still saying, not a who, but a what. I might as well make it a bumper sticker.
Yeah, not a who, but a what. Let me write it down on my end. I like it. Not who, but what. And I will put a dot and a question mark. No, exclamation point and a question mark.
That is true.
and a slash. So, yeah, how, what, okay. You have this claim. It's a what? And this claim, as I understood it, is based on observation of what happened when we had a who, and then it was a what, right? In the past?
Yes, indeed, because it used to be prescribed when we didn't know something, in my opinion, not always, but when we didn't know something, it was very easy to say, who did it come from? And then we would fill in blank.
Yeah, and then since we did that many times in the past, there is a good reason to think that in the future we will find the what is the cause of the laws of physics.
And we would expect a sort of artificial laws to come from whom. So whether you call it soccer or football, it makes sense that that comes from a whom, because these are things that humans and other creatures have constructed. But when we try to put that to something like E equals MC squared, this seems to be more of us describing instead of prescribing. If that makes sense. And we're just describing what is. But when you prescribe, you're saying, well, this is what I think should be.
Correct. And it's a bad thing to prescribe?
It's not a bad thing to prescribe, but you could have your son say, listen, I know that the rules of football, or whatever we want to call it, are like this, but I don't like it like this. I like using my hands.
Yeah.
Thus, how you can only say no as long as he agrees with you. And so that becomes much harder. But if you say, well, I don't agree that it's raining outside, well, you know, we could disagree with that all we want, but it doesn't matter who we are.
Yeah, I don't agree that Earth is very well, right? Likewise. So yeah, you could disagree as much as you want. There are things that are objective truth, and I guess that's what you are making a difference between objective and subjective.
Sure, I would say these are the laws of nature, and they separate us from, I hate to say the laws of arbitrary, but the laws of just minds. Because I think without minds, these laws would still exist.
Correct. There is a mind that, in the Catholic religion at least, there is a mind that do exist since forever, like eternal mind, the mind of God. That's who is that's why even if we humans disappear, there would still be a mind the one that created the laws of physics, or at least the laws that created the laws of physics as we know it. Like there is in the Cuss, the beginning of beginnings, or the start of it all. There is a possibility that this universe that we live in, and with the logic that we follow and the laws of physics that we follow, are just a product of another universe, or
Sure.
a theory about quartz sliding or hitting each other because of fluctuation and whatnot, and then creating a universe out of it, and those kind of things. I say, yeah, well, those are still laws. Those courts do follow the laws, or this present universe was following some laws, and those laws were based on a creator, a who, not a what.
Well, it makes sense to me,
Yeah.
but in both directions. I could see a multiverse in which there is I hate to say a higher order universe, but something that our universe is nested within, that our laws may be beholden even to that. There could be that this is the only universe, and it's hard. I know this is hard sometimes. Even harder, I think, sometimes for people to conceptuate than a multiverse. It could be that time began 13.8 billion years ago, and there is no answer to what came before, because that is when causality began. What I would say I am skeptical of, I'm not saying that it's not, because there's always that 1%. It makes me agnostic, or an agnostic atheist, but it doesn't make sense to me to be a whom, because it would mean a whom, a bunch of whats, and then a whom again. It would almost be like a complex, and then simple, and then evolving back up to complex again. And so it could be that, but it would be, I guess, odd.
So God has rules that he needs to abide. One of the rules is logic. The other one is perfection. And those are the rules, basically, that God needs to abide to. And those rules are revealed to us by him. He is the one who says, I need to follow those rules. We do not understand, cannot understand who God is if he wasn't revealing himself to us. And the same thing applies to those whats that you claim there are. You claim there are whats, and you induce their existence based on the experience of what happens when we switch from a who to a what. And you say, okay, let me follow this train of thought to the way the beginning, if we like you say, time and make sense as long as I can, and then we'll get a what at the beginning. I don't think it helps you move forward having a what and not knowing what the what is. The what doesn't tell you anything, right? He doesn't communicate with you. These laws of nature or laws of physics do not tell you anything. He doesn't communicate with you. You find them out when you seek them out, but they do not communicate with you.
I agree.
You don't give information
that
from them.
It's not speaking to you one-on-one like, hi, Bob, I'm the information.
Yeah.
But what it is saying is, why do objects fall to the ground? And we can look out a little bit further, and we can say the what is that we are falling. The Earth is falling. It's in an orbit around the sun. And so because we have the system of gravity, objects fall to the ground. And we could have very easily made up a complex story about a whom, but this what actually explains the phenomena.
Gravitation explains the phenomenon. Yeah. we could say, yeah, there is someone, an entity pushing back, right? Is that what you're saying?
We could
Yeah.
indeed.
Yeah, and we would be wrong. So the thing is, I talked about talking one-on-one. Well, you said one-on-one, and I like the idea of having a heart-to-heart with God. Many people claim they do have this one-on-one with God, and the authors of the Bible were such people.
Well, I'm interested in that because one of the things you said is cannot reveal. Maybe I misheard, but God cannot reveal. And it's just odd because God used to reveal very specifically himself all the time.
Yeah, so it's can. He can reveal. Maybe I misspoke.
Oh, he can reveal. Okay.
Yeah, he can speak to us. Yeah.
Oh my. Has he spoken to you?
Well, in a manner of speech, yeah, it's a way to reduce what happened to something understandable with words and ideas that are conveyed to one another. But yeah, he spoke to me.
Oh,
what did he say? What did he say?
I mean, come on, you knew that was coming, 100%.
So he said I love you. Basically, it's like what? That's all. Could you tell me the numbers for the next lottery or whatever? You just say I love you. What? Anyway, it was more than enough. This feeling that you have, your senses are overwhelmed. Anyway, that's another subject. It's
I will say I have tried ecstasy once, so that might be. Are we going in the right direction?
ecstasy. I remember the good times. Anyway. It's different. What you feel or what happens when you're next. Well, it's different for each person.
Which
you would say.
Better?
Anyway.
No, you don't have to answer that. Okay, God.
Yeah, it is better. It's different. The feeling of fulfillment that I still feel empty when I do drugs. When I did drugs, sorry, there was this feeling of there is something missing. I need to do something to fill this void, and I need to move. I need to eat. I need to talk to that person or touch this one, depending on which drug I took. I needed to do something, and
that is true. You are explaining functions that we all need to do.
Yeah, but because of the drugs, for me to be happy or to be fulfilled, I needed to do something. But when people meet God, they or God talks to them, they do not need to do something. They don't feel the need to do something. They are fulfilled without doing anything. Anyway, that's a different subject. It's a fun one. It's a fun one to explore. But I would like to explore this question, this talking. The universe doesn't talk. This is my phrase, right? Okay. You have not a who but a what, and I have the universe doesn't talk, and that's the thing that I would need to be able to agree that it is a what. How would I know if it is not shared with me? How would I have this confidence to say it is a what?
Well, I would say it depends on what we're looking at and the time period, because whom's really came in for us 4.5 billion years ago, and then even stronger about 2 billion years ago of multicellular life. And so when we're talking about before then, it is much harder for me to understand an organism that is a mind that is just out there, that doesn't have a brain or is outside of what we would refer to as time and space.
Yeah, he doesn't. You mean God doesn't have a brain? Is that what you said?
Well, does God
Yeah.
have a brain?
No, he does. Well, he did have at one point, but anyway, it's a tricky question. He does and doesn't at the same time.
Oh my. Are you
Because
saying he
time.
has a pee and not pee at the same time?
Yeah. That's God for you.
We're going back.
It's nonsensical. When we talk about infinite and infinity and nonsense, is bound to happen at one point or another, and God is infinite. So yeah, there is nonsense in it. The 100% God, 100% human that Jesus was, this kind of nonsense. It's impossible to have two at the same time and make sense. It is one of those things that we do say, okay, well, that's what he said, and he's not lying. God is not a liar. He doesn't lie. Therefore, it must be true that he was 100% God and 100% human. That's it is. Yes, yeah. It's crazy. The most powerful. That's yeah. No, it wouldn't make sense. Lying is not saying the truth, and whatever God says is true. So no, it's a square thing. He cannot.
So what if God says this statement is false?
Yeah. It's the same thing as trying to draw the square circle. Doesn't make sense. He can't say that phrase habitual as much as he can't draw a square circle. It's nonsensical.
See, but anytime I hear when an agent can't lie, I'm always want to be like, "Oh, baby girl, is that what he told you?"
Like what happens? Do his lips just stop moving or something?
Yeah.
Does his brain just physically force him to stop saying the words?
I mean, if Jesus were to try to say that, this kind of thing. Yeah, is that your question, T-Jump, or?
Yeah. So God's gonna say,
Yeah.
everything I say is a lie. What happens? How does he stop from saying that?
So somebody would say, could you say that? They will go to Jesus and says, could you say everything I say is a lie? And I think he would say no.
Well, I don't care what he
That's
would
how it would
say. Let's say he just forms the words on his lips, so he's going to actually say it. What stops him actually say it?
The same thing that stops us to draw a square circle. So you put your pen on the paper and then you stop because
nothing
there
is
is nothing
stopping him physically. Like if you start saying the words, you can say the words just fine. There's no problem there.
When you say you mean Luke?
Yep.
Yeah, but I'm not God.
I don't care, because if nothing is stopping you from saying the words, then nothing's stopping God from saying the words either.
Yes, there is something stopping God from saying the words.
What?
Logic.
Logic stops God from saying English words?
Correct. Thank you very much for your intervention, T-Jump. it's funny. That's how sometimes when you talk to people and they start laughing because they don't have any more arguments, you know, it happens. But yeah, there are things that you cannot do. When I tell you that you take a pen and draw, you can draw, and then I say a square circle and you stop. Why can you not draw? There is nothing preventing you to draw, and you can just draw a line and say this is a square circle.
Actually, you can't draw a square circle.
Yeah. And
So
then,
what you have to, because all
then-
words, right, are just descriptions of concepts. So if we just change the definition of square and change the definition of circle, we
Correct.
can easily draw a square circle.
there you go. I was getting at that. And you would draw a line and say, this is a square circle. And then somebody would say, well, no, it's not a square circle. And then we disagree on what words means. That's what you, that's how it would happen. Anyway, yeah, the semantics, ideas, words are tools to convey ideas, and then the idea of God lying doesn't convey anything.
Can I have just another question, Luke? Would there be something that changed your mind or would change your mind?
Oh, at this point, I've been talking to many atheists who had really good reasons for why they stopped believing, or how it happened to the idea of God and those kind of things, and found them nonsensical. And anyway, good conversation with those atheists out there. And based on those conversations, I tried to create another, because I had one myself before I talked to them. As anything in my life, if there is a true statement, I should be able to say what would convince me otherwise, right? And when you ask me what would convince me that there is not a God, I would say the laws of physics do not apply. There is no sense. I will pick up my coffee cup and drop it, and it wouldn't drop, and it wouldn't drop sometimes. So for no apparent reason, the laws of physics stop happening like it does in dreams. And that's
Stupid reason.
how.
One, that's actually going to happen quantum mechanically. That does happen. Secondly, you can have a universe with naturalism and has laws of physics just fine, and they work every single time. You don't need a God for that. So that's a dumb reason. But we should let some of the other people speak who haven't gotten a chance to speak yet.
All right.
Tim or
what novel testable predictions convinced you atheism was true?
the lack of novel testable predictions for God convinced me atheism is true.
Oh, so you're special pleading?
No. Because atheism isn't a positive claim. God
that
is a
is
positive
special
claim.
pleading.
No, it's not.
Okay.
If you have a positive claim God exists and you have no way to show your God is more than imaginary, then your God's imaginary. It's that simple.
But I always
Like
find it weird.
naturalism makes predictions, so
Exactly. We have ways, methodologies of actually doing novel predictions. But I always find it weird when we have a panel that's like, prove your God. And it's like a quasi form of just bitching or complaining, which is to not actually present evidence, but try to say, well, why do you believe in atheism? I have multiple reasons. However, we're trying to ask, why do you believe in a God?
or Rahimi, is your mic working?
Yeah, it's on now. Alright, I'm gonna send you my syllogism real quick.
Don't send it to me. Just say it, because I'm not going to read anything.
Okay, I'm gonna post it in chat, but I'm gonna read it out to you.
Just read. No one reads the chat.
Nobody reads the chat. Okay.
Listen, I am sending love out to chat. I love all
So
of
basically,
you.
it's just premise one: whatever is contingent at one time did not exist. Premise two: if everything is contingent, then at one time nothing existed. Premise three: if
Oh,
at one
boy.
time nothing existed, then nothing would exist now. Premise four: something exists now. So premise five: so not every being is contingent. Premise six: so there is a necessary being. Premise seven: either the necessary being gets the necessity from another, or necessarily of itself. Premise 8: there cannot be an infinite regression of necessary beings that get their necessity from another. Premise 9: so there is a necessary being that exists necessarily of itself.
So a lot of your premises are wrong.
That why?
Like the First one, he says contingent means something about if something's contingent, it didn't exist forever or something.
Premise 1, let me read it out for you again, is that whatever is contingent at one time did not exist.
Yeah, that's false. So things could be contingent and still exist forever. So the first one's false.
Yeah, why?
Because things can be contingent and still exist forever. Being contingent doesn't mean it isn't eternal.
Yeah, do you know what contingency means denotatively?
Yes. So, like, do you know what a brute contingency is?
Yeah, why? Wait, what? Can you give an example, actually?
Example. It's Google brute contingency. It's a thing in philosophy.
Yeah, I'm asking for what an example of a brute contingency would be. I don't want to make.
You don't need an example. It's a logical possibility. So, like, giving an example of contingent, there's no examples of contingent or necessary things. It's all made up. So there is no such thing as necessary contingent, but they're all just philosophical ideas in our heads. And brute contingency is a contingent thing that's existed forever without any cause.
Okay.
Pineapple.
So
a pineapple in a universe that's existed on its own forever.
Yeah, I'm just gonna question the PSR of the brute contingency. You know what the PSR is? The principle of sufficient reasoning.
Yeah, which is rejected by the vast majority of philosophers. Yeah, I know what the PSR is.
Okay, so then I would just ask you, why would this pineapple exist forever? Because we know how pineapples.
It's literally answered by the word brute contingency. Brute means exists without reason or cause.
Yeah, I'm gonna get the PSR.
PSR is garbage. The PSR is rejected by the vast majority of philosophers. It's a garbage principle. It's not applicable in anything in philosophy.
Yeah,
it's a bunch of
what vast majority of philosophers reject the PSR, by the way?
From the Phil Surveys paper, 2022, specifically about the PSR, vast majority of philosophers, academic, professional philosophers rejected.
The vast majority of philosophers that took that survey, or is it the vast majority
of philosophers? All academic philosophers, the vast majority. The only people who really accepted are crazy theists who aren't accepted in any rational. Yes, I'm very sure about this. Yes, it's literally a conversation we've had with professional philosophers. I don't care. I gave you a reference. If you don't like the reference, that's too bad for you. You can go cry to your mama. I gave you the reference. I gave you the facts. PSR is garbage. Whether you accept it, that's up to you. Don't care. You have a garbage epistemology.
So me so asking you for the evidence to suffice your claim, and you're rejecting it.
No, I provided it to you, kiddo. I provided it to you. Bill Survey's paper,
the
largest
principle
paper
of sufficient
I just
reason.
crushed you, kid. You've been debunked.
Basically,
Phil Survey's
how many
paper,
of the
largest
least
poll of
possible
academic
facts
philosophers
could
there
we
is. This
put
is the best evidence
so that
there
Jesus
is to answer that question.
back from the dead.
I just told you. You're
Stuff
done,
like
dumbass.
that. It's about
Phil
miracles
Survey's
and-
paper, largest poll of
It
professional
is
philosophers
nonsense,
ever
in
done.
honesty.
Most people reject the PSR. If you don't know that, you're a dumbass. You have a dumbass epistemology that dumbass theists use that has no applicability in anything in any rational discourse. Bye-bye. Next.
Hey, T-Jump.
Hey.
Hey, Amy. Hope you guys are having a good one.
What is up?
So I had a couple of quick questions for you. I was hoping I could just get your thoughts on these. I've just kind of been stuck on this. Under like a classical theism view, with God being all of the omnis, all powerful, all knowing, all that good stuff. Does it make any sense for him to create anything at all? I mean, he's self-sufficient.
That's the paradox of perfection. If God's perfect, and if he creates anything that makes things less perfect, why would he create anything?
Right. I mean, that just kind of puts most of classical theism on the edge as a whole. And what was the other one? What would be one of your better explanations for early Christianity without like a resurrection? I mean,
people
how would
are
you
stupid
explain
and
that?
make stuff up.
Fair enough.
And
Same as Mormonism, same as every religion. Scientology. Xenu and the nuking of the volcanoes and the clearing of your clear souly stuff of the evil souls. It's crap they make up. Was there actually volcano nuking? No. L. Ron Hubbard just made that shit up, but it got popular. Same with Christianity.
Okay, that later part is definitely true. It depends on the era, because as the newer religions were definitely made by people who went out and sought to just make religions whole cloth. Whether Jesus was trying to set out to do the type of religion that he is constructed now, or whether Paul just wanted to create some sort of radical sect of Judaism that was open to others, I don't know. But in a sense, they are stemming from the imaginations of, humans, whether they did so intentionally or not.
Right. Yeah, and I've heard several different people posit some really good hypotheses for how it could have came about, even without obviously anything supernatural, and it makes total sense. So, yeah. Oh, as far as moral intuitions go, I've heard discussions recently. The last one was the debate between Daniel Hakikachu and Matt Dillahunty, and Daniel had brought up something about like you can have intuitions of quote unquote the divine. I don't. I kind of understand what he's saying, but I don't think that obviously it's not. It just doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know how you would even falsify something like that.
They were about which claims of the divine? I actually have been watching those debates, sending love out to Matt Dillahunty and Aaron Ra, who were at Skepticon. But what was his exact miracle claims?
Oh, no. He brought up how there are studies that show that especially kids at a young age, they have this intuition of the divine or something along those lines. And I didn't know if that could tie in at all to a form of like moral intuition, if that would fall under the same category, or if that's just completely a
You mean like
non-starter.
active imaginations?
Right.
Well, and the problem is with the word divine is it can mean so many things, just like spiritual. And, do sometimes kids enact exactly what their parents are doing, especially when they're doing prayer and things like that? In fact, I think when we're talking about speaking in tongues and these sorts of bizarre actions that they would call divine, we could explain most of them by saying people wanted to fit in. A lot of people have these experiences when they're going through bad times. That doesn't always, I hope not to children, but very specifically, if you want to be part of the group, you're going to do what they are. And, sometimes you feel a feeling singing hymns, but that's probably not divine. That's probably dopamine.
Yeah. No, it's a good point. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you guys.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming on.
Mm-hmm.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can. What's up, Tim?
Excellent. So I have one comment and then 3 questions, 2 for Tom and 1 for both Tom and Amy. Number 1, my comment is to thank Amy for working with autistic children. Are you still doing that? Is that correct? You just started?
I still am. It has been a fantastic journey.
Yep. So it is really great. I have 2 children who are both autistic. So they've gone to ABA therapy before, and I've kind of, a long time ago, watched them go through that. And so you will find that this type of work will give you a lot of chance to become very patient with people. And maybe your talking with theists will help you with that, and vice versa. So that's number 1.
Just want to thank you for all the love and support that it sounds like you are giving your children. And you're right, has been a fantastic way to show my patients. However, they really do also have a lot of gifts. And so it's just about figuring out how we can communicate together so that we can get that out and seeing about all that amazing success that they can do.
Yep, absolutely. So first question for Tom is it possible for me to hypothesize that evolution is where objective morality emerges from?
Yes, it is, Sven.
Yeah.
What's up?
Okay, then why don't you take that particular
I don't like it. I
Because
think it's stupid.
Think it's stupid? Why is it stupid?
Because I think mine's better.
Okay, all right, that's fair enough. Second question for Tom is why are the atheists who believe in subjective morality so angry with your objective morality hypothesis?
They're not for the most part. Just the people. I mean, there's people on the internet who debate anything.
So I'm thinking of Godless Girl and all the essentially. Why are they so upset about basically a hypothesis where you basically say like, look, this is my hypothesis. Here are the reasons why I believe it. Here's a if we see this, then it'll prove it, but I can't prove it because I don't have a Nobel Peace Prize yet. And so,
well, I got a trick question for you. Name one thing Godless Girl is not angry about.
A good question. Yeah, but
Send in love, Godless.
The people who she brings on, they get so upset about it. I'm trying to think. Okay, last question, both for Tom and Amy. Is there a connection between trans rights and the rights of people on the autistic spectrum?
Huh? Say that again?
Is there a connection, or there's some relationship, or are they similar between trans rights and the rights of people on the autistic spectrum? In other words, will there become a time in the future, and it's already happening, where autistic people kind of say like, hey, we have rights too. Here are the things that we want. Here are the things that we don't want. And will there be some pushback from people who are not in the autistic?
That was the word I was thinking of, Sven.
Sure. In that context of, are there people with atypical natures to them who will then ask for special privileges or to be treated differently than the average person because of those? Yes, absolutely, and they should, and we should give everyone the right to be treated specially in accordance with their nature to make them feel the best that they can feel. We should do that for everybody.
And I agree, and there is a low correlation, and they overlap, but they're not. Obviously, they're not the same thing. And so there are many people on the spectrum who are transgender. I think actually a more disproportional rate. However, there are many people on the spectrum who feel just fine. I'm trying to think of the way to say it, who are not transgender, and so both groups and those that overlap need the support that they can get, and we should treat them like the amazing individuals they are.
Understood. Actually, I have a follow-up for Tom. Tom, if you had lived in the best of all possible worlds, where God came to you and asked you if you can either go to the world with high functioning autism or go without it, what would you choose?
I wouldn't care. I don't think
Of course not.
autism versus not autism has any value. What matters is the outcome in the world to having it. So like, if you have high function autism and your special interest is something that's attainable, then you're going to be happy. If it's not attainable, then you're going to be unhappy. And so the question is would in that world with autism, is the special interest attainable? And if so, then it would be preferable, probably.
I can give an example. I have high functioning autism, and my special interest is computers, and that works out very well for me, both as an individual and for my career.
My special interest is hot blind Instagram models, and it does not work out very well for me.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you for the conversation.
Yep.
Hello.
What is up?
Hi there.
Person in the chat, yes, I was diagnosed with high function autism.
Hello.
Go ahead.
Tijam, do you believe there can't be a round square?
Not in a standard logic universe, no.
Not understand?
Not in a standard logic universe, no.
Okay, then how can there be a measurable ultimate necessity?
A machinable ultimate necessity. What?
Yeah. No, there can't be a measurable ultimate necessity
What's a
because
measurable? I don't know what a measurable is.
anything, any measurable quality, maybe mass, momentum,
Measurable.
size.
Material? Yeah, there's no
Measurable.
contradiction between a material necessary thing.
No, how can a material necessary thing can be necessary in all possible world? Because the measurement
Because
could have been any
it
other
would
in all possible.
exist in all possible worlds. So a necessary being is just a being that exists in all possible worlds. If all possible worlds entail a material Bob being, then Bob would be a necessary being.
No. My argument is, if you say the ultimate necessity is a measurable thing, that measurement could have been any other way in all possible world. So last week you told me you can have a 1-inch potato in all possible world as a necessary thing.
Yep.
So my question is, if it is possible to have a world without any physical entities, how can you say it is possible to have a 1-inch potato in all possible world?
Then it wouldn't be in all possible worlds if there was one possible world that didn't have it.
No, you are saying it is possible to have 1-inch potato in all possible world. That is a
Yeah.
logical contradiction.
No, it's not.
No, because you can have a 2-inch potato in a possible world.
No,
That's possible.
It's possible that in all possible worlds, a 2-inch potato is impossible.
No. The modus ponens goes like this. If a 2-inch potato, if it is possible to have a 2-inch potato in any possible world, it is impossible to have a 1-inch potato in all possible world. Therefore, it is impossible to have a 1-inch potato in all possible world. That's what I'm saying. Because
You're not understanding. So there's this thing called necessitarianism. Necessitarianism is the view that the way things are is the only way they ever could be. So if there's a world where there's a 1-inch potato, and it's a necessitarian world, that's the only way the world could be. So the only possible world is a world with a necessary potato. That's 1 inch.
That is necessary because it is dependent on a law prior to it, which forces it to be that way.
What? No.
Because, for example, let me give you an example. Because anything that is composed of parts depends on those parts to exist. For example,
No,
you
that's
take
irrelevant. No, that's irrelevant.
No,
So you can have a composite necessary being.
No, you take a sandcastle as an example. Okay, sandcastle is depends
Oh
on.
my God, you're so ignorant to philosophy. Just Google necessary beings in Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy. The only thing that makes something a necessary being is that it exists in all possible worlds. There can be multiple necessary beings. There can be composite necessary beings. There can be potato necessary beings. You don't understand necessary beings.
No, you're talking about dependent necessary things. I'm talking about the ultimate necessary things.
There is no such thing. In philosophy, all necessary beings, there's only one class. Necessary being refers to only one thing, things that exist in all possible worlds. That's it, full stop. There's no classification. You're making up your new classifications that don't exist in philosophy. That doesn't exist.
Okay, I will now bring a new argument. You actually told me that you will approve a prediction of future event. If a scripture says a future event, that will be a proof for God's existence, right?
Be evidence.
Okay. Do you believe that Hindu scriptures are like at least 4,000 years old?
Yeah.
Yeah, in Hindu scriptures it says
6,000 years. I think.
In Hindu scriptures it says like the Kalki avatar will come, and the last prophet. Kalki avatar means last prophet. His name will be in Arabic. It is translated as the name is Narashamsa, which means the praiseworthy, which literally translates to Muhammad. And his father's name will be Vishnu Bhagat. Vishnu Bhagat means slave of Vishnu, which literally translates to Abdullah, which is the name of the
literally
prophet's father.
It does not translate into that. No, the Hindu names don't translate into Muhammad and Abdullah. They do not.
No, I live in India. I know Vishnu Bhagat means.
I'm very familiar with the Bhagavad Gita and the Vedas.
No, Vishnu
they
is
don't
God.
translate.
Vishnu...
Wait, stop. So there is actually a prediction in the Vedas. It's a very good prediction. It predicts the age of the earth. It's 4.3 billion years old. In the Vedas.
Okay.
It's like 95% accurate. It's a phenomenal prediction. That's the best evidence for any god have ever been presented is from the Vedas.
Okay, I'm not giving you just one prediction. I'm giving you 8 to 9 prediction, clear prediction. Just let me go through it entirely. Okay, it says like a spiritual teacher
First
will
one you
appear.
presented fails. The first one doesn't work. So
No,
what's
no,
the
no,
next one?
no, no. Okay, I will bring. It says that a spiritual leader will come from an outside land of desert region, and he will be speaking a foreign language. And they will not be from the Arya Dharma. Arya Dharma means they will not be from India, and their followers will be circumcised. This is the main point, and they will have a call to prayer, which is our Adhan. Call to prayer. This is written in Bhavishya Purana. I will give you the chapter number, verse number, whichever you need. Okay, and it says they will have a call to prayer, and they will only eat lawful things, and they will not eat pork. It specifically mentions they will not eat pork, and then it says they will be meat-eating nation, because the Hindus, they don't eat meat.
But
Not an only
it's the first
carb
thing,
diet.
circumcision. The earliest documented cases of circumcision are from Egypt to 2300
Okay,
BC.
okay, leave it. I will give the next one. No. It says here they will be from the desert region, and his followers will be circumcised. Everybody does that.
Oh, it doesn't
What
say
about-
that. It does not say it says
No.
circumcision anywhere in the Vedas. It does not mention the word. No.
No. It mentions you have. I'm saying Bhagavad. Go to Bhavishya Purana, Paru 3, Kanda 3, Adhyay 3, Shokla 10 to 27. It mentions that their followers will be circumcised. Okay,
It doesn't.
and
what?
no,
No, it doesn't. Where does
I will send you the-
what is the word? Where is the
How is that a
Vedas word for
prediction?
circumcision? What is the word?
Because I didn't take the original because you only understand English. You don't understand the Sanskrit word.
Tell
So I will
me
give you
the
the-
word. Tell me the Sanskrit word.
No. People are circumcising in the world since time memorial. So you don't. You think
no,
the
they
Sanskrit
don't.
word
That's
doesn't
not the case. No,
No,
they
diverting the
haven't.
topic. Okay,
What
you
is the
forgot
word? What is the Sanskrit word for circumcised? I
Okay.
want to
No,
know
you-
this. I want to Google
I will-
this.
I will
want
give-
Google
I
to
will
tell
show
me.
you entire scripture. Just let me complete the argument. You are not trying to divert the argument just based on the
Literally,
circumcision.
you read the argument. This is your prophecy.
Okay, let me tell you another thing. In Atharva Ved, book number 20, hymn number 21, it says his name will be Karo. Karo means it literally translates to praying one. Praying one means Ahmad, which is another name of Prophet Muhammad. And if you argue regarding the name, forget. Let me tell you the next thing. He will defeat 10,000 enemies without a fight,
But what an odd
which
prediction
actually
anyway.
talks about the Battle of Kandak, where the Muslims won without a fight taking place. Okay, and then hello.
No, none
Yeah.
of those work.
And-
Those are all garbage.
Operator.
No. And then in Atharva Ved, another hymn 21, it says he will defeat 60,090 enemies and 20 chiefs, and his name will be Abandhu, which means Ahmad. And that means when Prophet Muhammad conquered back Makkah, the population was 60.
There's literally no connection.
Popul- the population was 60,090, and then there were 20 chiefs in Quraysh. So all these things are, even Hindu scholars. I can give you the like from Sri Ravi Shankar and few other scholars who agree to this. Actually, this actually refers to Prophet Muhammad. So, and also I can give you proofs from Bible where it mentions that a prophet will come from the region of.
Prophecies are garbage. I gave you a better prophecy than literally all of those.
No, you know, this is not one prophecy. This actually specifically mentions
all of those
event number.
combined, all
No,
of those
20 chiefs.
combined are still garbage compared to the one that I gave you from the Vedas. The one prediction from the Vedas of the age of the earth is 1 billion times better than all of those combined. All of what you mentioned are garbage.
Yeah, Veda. We believe the Vedas, the Bible, everything came from the same God, because the God has sent several prophets to all the communities in the world. So that's why all the scripture, all the scripture, they teach monotheism, and then all are correlated. And it specifically mentions this prophet who died.
Monotheism. Literally, no.
No. Ikkam Ivrityam. Do you know the word Ikkam Ivrityam, which means God is only one? Na Janitapa Pradipa. Na Janitapa Pradipa means that God doesn't have any.
Brahma, who was made from the Brahmin, is one, but there are lots of other gods.
You know Na Janitapa Pradipa. You know the meaning of that Sanskrit?
No, what does it mean?
Na Janitapa Pradipa means God is one. He's absolute. He's eternal. Na Janitapa Pradipa. Okay.
That God is Brahman. It's not
No.
all the other gods.
No, there are several man-written verses in the scriptures. It is very old, so we don't consider it as the 100% pure words from God, but it still consists words of God. That's why when you read it, you can find many predictions, several things.
God
And
in Hinduism.
it says that this prophet will ride a camel. This prophet will ride a camel. No Indian Brahmins would ride a camel. Indian Brahmins are like forbidden to ride a camel. So how can this prophet be from India?
But do you
I don't care if
understand
it's from India.
some of the
No,
claims
this
you're
prophet-
making? But Anesh, like saying that they will be circumcised if they made that circumcision right now is the prevailing thing we do in the United States. And so if the prophet said, find a guy who was circumcised, you could find
Okay.
millions,
Okay.
billions.
Just tell me who in the history of the entire history who won a war of 10,000 enemies without a fight, except Prophet Muhammad.
So Caesar, Augustine,
Okay, give me the historical reference of 10,000 enemies he won without a fight. Exactly 10,000
it's
enemies.
called surrender. There tons and tons of cities have surrendered with tens of thousands of people to militaries without a fight. This happens all the time in history.
And Muhammad is known for taking cities by force. If a few came by surrendering or assimilation, that's cool. But that's
Okay. It says his name will be Abandu. Abandu means Ahmad literally in Arabic. Alexander's name is not Abandu, doesn't match the name. And also it says he will defeat 60,090 enemies and 20 chiefs. That's specific number. You cannot get around that. It specifically says 60,090 enemies and 20 chiefs.
It's Ubuntu, right?
Which one?
Ubuntu. Ubuntu. The one that you says that means Muhammad? Ahmed,
the second name of Prophet Muhammad. Yeah.
Yeah. What is the word?
Ubuntu.
What is the Sanskrit word? Ubuntu.
Abandu.
Ubuntu, correct?
Abandu. Abandu.
Say it again, slower.
AB.
AB.
AN.
AN.
DU.
EU.
DD.
DD, like there's two D's.
No, D for Denmark.
Yeah. I'm not seeing any translations that include anything related to Muhammad here. Nothing. No translation of Abandu.
No, Abandu. What is the translation of Abandu? Meaning of Abandu?
Abandu meaning.
He's translating it roughly to mean something that can be interpreted as Muhammad. He's not directly translating it to Muhammad. No. The translation is praying one. It could be several other name, but why specifically praying one? Literally Ahmad. And his mother's name. I will translate.
No, it doesn't.
No. His mother's name will be in Sanskrit Somanib. Somanib means peaceful and tranquil, which is the literal name of Prophet Muhammad, Amina in Arabic. Amina means peaceful and tranquil. So you cannot say all
that the words can be translated to mean the same thing doesn't mean that they're the same name.
No. Peaceful and tranquil. It could be 1,000 of other names. There are millions of other names in Hindu: Priya, Jayanti, Shanti, Shivajini. It could be any other name. Why specifically Somani, which means peaceful and tranquil? And also it says
it's a very common name. There's nothing special about anything you've said.
Oh, why did it
How do you know it's not referring to Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha?
No, it says he would ride a camel.
Okay, how do you know Buddha didn't ride a camel?
You're roboting. Your mic is broken.
Buddha is angry that his scripture was misinterpreted to mean Muhammad.
He's fighting back.
Yeah. Well, now Buddha and Muhammad are both fighting over his microphone to control which one of them is interpreted.
I hate it when they do that.
Yeah, they need to learn how to get along.
Hello.
Hello.
Now we can.
Yeah. I got disconnected.
Some people on T-Jump stream requested that you recite the alphabet really quickly.
You mean Narasimha? Okay, I will give you the word narration, sir, because this is confirmed by Hindu scholars who are reading the scripture for thousands of years. Okay, Sri Ravi Shankar, I can quote several other scholars as well. So their own scholars are agreeing to it because they don't have any other option to refuse it. And people like Zakir Naik, all these people, they have studied these specific verses, and then they come to the conclusion this specifically mentions the arrival of Prophet Muhammad. And even in Bible, it says that a last prophet would come from Khorasan region, from Mount Sinai, specifically the mountain in Medina. So the specific location is mentioned, and from which lineage he will come, because a prophet has been promised to the descendants of Ishmael. So he is the second son of Abraham. So God promised the second son of Abraham that you will have a prophet from your lineage in Bible. So everyone, that's why people in Medina, they were waiting for the last prophet. When Prophet Muhammad, he actually got the revelation in a cave. And also it is mentioned in the Hindu scriptures, he will receive the revelation in the cave. So I don't think this can be coincidence. Very low chance. You actually told me if you bring any future predictions from any scriptures, you will take it as a proof. And also
those aren't future testable predictions. Those are ambiguity fallacies. I gave you one that's
numbers. 60,000, 20 chiefs, 60,090 enemies and 20 chiefs. Specific numbers, names are matching. Historical, he will receive.
None of that is matching. All of that's garbage. All that's an ambiguity fallacy. You can actually check.
Ambiguity.
I gave you an example. I gave you an example from the Vedas of a good prediction. The age of the earth. That's a really good prediction. That one's evidence.
That's good. Nobody's saying it's bad. That's good. It's evidence as well. So do you believe in the Vedas?
No.
No, you said it's a good evidence, right?
Yeah, that one's good evidence. It's a very small amount of evidence. But it got everything else
then
wrong.
why don't you believe in it? How can you just told me it is a good evidence?
Yes. Got one thing right, which is evidence, and it got a million things wrong, which is counter evidence.
And also, there are several things you haven't read it. Just now I've given you some of the proofs.
I have read it. Most of the things you said are garbage.
Not garbage. I'm quoting you from Vedas. I'm giving you the Vedas scripture number, verse number, chapter number.
No. Your interpretation is called an ambiguity fallacy. It's the same kind of garbage interpretations Christians do. You're trying to make the text fit historical facts.
They don't speak the Arabic language in India 4,000 years back. So obviously,
it doesn't make a difference. That's called an ambiguity fallacy. This is what people do. Stop. We know this doesn't work. You can take any texts and read it in ways that can be interpreted to fit history. The Moby Dick literally has examples of dates and times where people were killed and assassinated, and it has dozens of them. It is not evidence that Moby Dick was written by a guy who can predict the future. That's just how words work. If you put
novel testable prediction, how can you prove only through novel testable prediction you can come to a true conclusion? How can you prove that? That's a philosophical claim.
Because
that's
you need to be able to differentiate imagination from reality, and the only thing that can do that is to accurately be able to predict the future.
No. You can prove that with logical contradiction and impossibility of the contrary argument.
No, you cannot. You can have a thing that's that's not logically contradictory, and it's still just something you made up in your head, like Santa Claus, Sky Daddies, magical leprechauns.
No, for that, the first premises itself is not strong. If you prove the first premises is strong, then the conclusion follows to be the first premises.
You can have premises and logical arguments for Santa Claus, like Santa Claus. If Santa Claus exists, cats will be real. Cats are real, therefore Santa Claus exists. That's a deductive logical argument.
You don't understand my first premises. The Santa Claus is because my first premises is anything that is measurable is a dependent thing, because that measurement could have been any other way in all possible worlds.
No,
Santa Claus
anywhere in philosophy does it say things that are measurable are contingent. It's not a thing. You've made
you can get Josh Rasmussen, and then there are several people who actually argue this. People
I've debated them. They're wrong. That is not a thing.
They have 2 PhDs, and then you are saying they are wrong. They are scholars in philosophy.
Yes, they are wrong. Like everybody in philosophy disagrees with them. Not a thing.
No, then because you are saying if something is necessary, then that can only be necessary if the impossibility of the contrary is proven. In your case, you are saying you are saying there can be a 1-inch potato in all possible worlds, but why the why there is no impossibility of the contrary. There are so many other possible measurements that could have been in all other possible world. But
Google necessitarianism. Just Google necessitarianism, and maybe you'll understand. Probably not, but yes, there could be impossible for there to be anything but a 1-inch potato in all possible worlds. So it's not possible for anything else to exist. Only 1-inch potatoes in all possible worlds. That is a possibility. Yes.
Yeah, but why it is 1-inch potato? Because we are talking about randomness.
Because it's necessary. That's what necessitarianism means. Do we have anybody else who has actual genuine questions? It's not stupid.
Yeah, what made it necessary in the first place? It must be dependent on something.
Reality.
Because for something to exist, it must be.
No. Next.
Yeah. So what's the like point of this call?
Magic potatoes.
Do you mean the show? Or do you mean
this Coalson show? Like what's the topic?
To help theists that are struggling with, I guess, this type of what I would call a superstition. Maybe not all skeptics would, but walk away from religion.
Well, that's probably quite a bad idea for a religious person.
I mean, sure, but a lot of them, at least in my opinion, are stuck in a cult.
A cult which gives them meaning, which non-religious people don't have.
I don't know if that's a good reason to be in a cult.
I mean, it depends to what extent they're being in a cult. If their religion is motivating them to, commit terrorist atrocities, then yeah, I can see where you're coming from. That maybe they shouldn't be part of that religion. But on the other hand, religion.
Sorry.
Go on. You can ask me.
Well, I was going to ask, could you say that's more an effect of something on the human psychology, and it is the fundamental nature of the religion itself?
Yeah, 100%.
Right. So it doesn't have to be religion. You could worship the first rock you find on the ground on a Sunday and feel that finds you meaning, and you can interpret that rock to mean whatever you want, right? It doesn't mean that the belief in the rock is any more or less valid because, it's zero. There's zero validity.
Yeah. Not many people think that rocks are not many people think.
Right. Well, the only thing that separates, belief in God from, say, mental illness is the number of followers. If one person was going around talking about how great the rock they found was, we would assume that they were suffering some sort of bout of a mental condition, or they were having some kind of other problem. We wouldn't assume that their beliefs were, reasonable.
I mean, the problem with being reasonable all the time is that you don't have the meaning that religions give you.
I mean,
Not
did you
true.
not just hear me say that you could
meaning? You can get meaning
Correct.
from things that are non-religion. You can get, like, many scientists can get meaning
Having
and
kids.
value without religion. You don't need religion for that.
But that's why religion helps. Like, religion helps people by giving people meaning, although you can get meaning from other avenues.
If you can get it from other avenues, why do we need religion?
Because that's just how, like, some people are brought up. Like, some people are just kind of stuck in their ways, and like cultures, so many cultures are just like have religions as like an integral part of them, and we can't just like get rid of religion. We have to, accept and accommodate it.
So I don't have any problem with religion as a concept, but the issue that I have is when people take their religious values and then attempt to impose those values on the broader society. For example, in America, we have a lot of laws and bans or restrictions that are formulated based on religious concepts. Abortion and anti-LGBT legislation are two of the easiest examples of things that are primarily, if not overwhelmingly, motivated by religion.
Oh, man, I agree with that. And then I will also just put out that I think that we should be trying to get away from religion. I think we should treat religious people with dignity and respect, and I would die for them to have their beliefs. However, I don't think that there's any good reason to be a theist.
Well, sure there is. For different people, different people work differently. For some people, religion might be the simplest way to make them feel like fulfilled and give them a sense of purpose in their life.
So,
Yeah,
So
but if it's
religion's
not
the best thing
true,
for them.
but if it's not true, then they basically have a foundation. Something makes us happy, even though it does not exist in reality.
that's true for sure.
Like I like video game characters, but they don't exist in reality. I don't particularly derive my meaning from them. Right? Wouldn't it be silly for me to do so?
Not if it helps you. Just because it's not real doesn't mean it can't give you meaning.
Hashtag support otakus.
I guess so.
I mean, I understand.
What if my meaning comes from debating and debunking theists?
I
What if
mean,
my meaning comes
we'd
from
have fun.
placing
Have fun.
Sorry.
Have fun debunking theists.
That's right. That's what this show is for. That is the purpose of the show, for me to have fun debunking theists.
I'm not sure it's going to achieve much though.
Entertainment.
I'm getting paid.
Okay, true.
Oh, well, that's a plus.
I'll admit, I'm having fun too. Sponsored by Fun.
Yeah, but notice though that this, at the end of the day, right, is harmless, right? It's just people talking in a Discord call. There's no societal consequences. There are no legislative consequences. We're all just here having a conversation, having a good time. The problem I have with religion, like I stated earlier, is there are actual, tangible consequences to imposing religious values on society.
Yeah, and they can be good and they can be bad. Like
Okay.
it depends.
Good.
Yeah, they
so
can be.
I'm noticing a slight track record here, right, where they tend to be bad more often than they're good by a pretty substantial margin. So I think that maybe we should.
Probably disagree.
Which would you
So
say?
I did a debate with R and Raw on this. I think that the good benefits, the societally positive benefits, while they are small on the individual level, in aggregate create greater benefits than the negative results which happen to the minority.
I think that I may be biased here
from an
because I'm a member of one of the
standpoint.
targeted minorities.
Yes, I am as well. So is Amy. I think so is pretty much any atheist. But yeah, I think that the reason from an evolutionary standpoint religion is so prevalent is because the minor benefits help the majority more than the minority. And so it's sacrifice the few to save the many kind of a thing. And we're in the few.
I just think it's a community, and so when you have communities, it's much harder because they just draw you in. There's also a lot of pressure if it's a majority to just be that. And so hopefully as we get more atheists, agnostic, non-believers, it will also, people won't have pressure to call themselves Christian, Muslim, when they're not, maybe not an atheist, but they're just I don't give up theist.
It's not like you can disprove religion, though.
It's not about
You definitely can. You definitely can. Like a Trinity that is himself and not himself at the same time. An all-powerful being who can't create a rock so heavy he can't lift it. You can definitely disprove religion. Jesus existed but didn't rise from the dead, put into a mass grave. There was no tomb. You can disprove a lot of religions.
You can't disprove that God's real, right? Like,
so the absence of proof that God isn't real doesn't mean that God is real.
And atheists.
Going further and further back, though.
You can't prove there aren't magic leprechauns up your butt.
Hey, I feel like I've heard this argument before.
There are magical god-eating leprechauns that kill any god that has ever existed, and they've existed for all time. And so, if there was ever a god, they would have been eaten by the god-eating leprechauns.
I also think there is good reason for a god not being there. Like, we don't see any floating mines. Every mine that we know of and have evidence for has to have a physical substrate. And so there could be a God out there. But
Oh, yeah, gotcha. I thought you said floating mimes. I'm like, wait,
I heard
what?
floating mimes as well.
oh yes, we do. There is the prime mover is actually a mime. I don't know if you all know this.
That's why he's so silent and we never hear his voice.
Exactly.
Oh, so that's why the French act like that.
So, but if we had good evidence, and I wish theists would come by, but most of their arguments, if they don't accept science, they're arguments from hundreds to thousands of years ago. Not that that is a bad thing, but come with something, I guess, better than Kalam or Pascal's wager.
Well,
I guess
think
bring those too, but
I think that fundamentally being against science as a theist is wrong, right? Because if God created the universe, then science is just the study of the universe that God created. So they are not, through a theist standpoint, contradictory to each other.
Tell that to Galileo and Giordano Bruno, who got burned.
I can't, they're dead.
I didn't
That
mean
was
if
a
there's
joke.
an afterlife. If there's an afterlife, you could tell him. You could you could. Die
Oh,
and then go
true. All right, I'll tell him when I go to hell.
tell him. Anybody else? Questions, arguments for God, philosophy, morality, politics, potatoes.
Taco Tuesday.
Diarrhea Wednesday.
Oh,
No,
yeah,
no, that's
all right.
Tuesday after Taco Tuesday.
Both of those are right. But no evidence for God? Anybody? Had one pre-supper that once again just tried to ask us, but
Ooh, there's somebody named Precept King in the chat.
I think that was him.
I'm not sure.
What's up, MMA?
Usually we get more
No
people.
one.
I will say, in like half an hour, I have to go to a birthday party.
Oh,
I'm
happy
highly
birthday.
excited. Oh no! It's
Wait, you
not
didn't say it
mine.
was your birthday.
Yeah, no, it's good. It was my nephew's birthday, but they celebrate on that day, so now it's the day for family.
Well, happy birthday to your nephew.
Thank you.
Yeah, I need some more coffee if I thought it was your birthday after you just said that. I'll be right back.
Listen, if we eat cake every day, it can be our birthday every day.
Yeah, but I prefer not gaining 500 pounds for eating all that cake.
Yeah, that is a thing. Happens.
It was my
I just
birthday
lost, like,
a week ago.
70, 80 pounds. I don't really want to gain that
birthday.
back.
Oh, well, congratulations.
Well,
Yes.
thank you.
I have survived another round the sun traversal of the planet. Congratulations, me.
Does this mean we're more alive or closer to being dead?
Yes.
How could you possibly be more alive?
I don't know. Wait, when was your birthday, by the way? I was also born in September.
18.
I was born on the 10th.
I'm older than you. Ha.
Okay, boomer.
Listen, the next battle is going to be Gen X versus Gen Z. Millennials.
Happy
are just gonna be
birthday,
watching.
Amy. Finally 21.
As a member of Gen Z, we're definitely going to lose.
Yay. I'm so sorry. It's going to be an interesting battle. You can just sit back.
Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Exactly.
Yeah, see, that's what I think people forget is when they look at like the conservatives from the lens of a modern day liberal or progressive, is they forget that those people were the same ones that were smoking pot and protesting the Vietnam War.
No, they weren't. What are you talking about?
What? Weren't they? The
No.
boomers today that are whining about it, weren't they also for
No.
the Vietnam War?
No.
Oh.
No.
I mean, some of them might have been, but generally, no.
Generally, those boomers are the liberals because, like, half of the country, the old people are also liberals.
Yeah, but like, conservatives and liberals as well. Like both parties in the US and every like Western country are really just neoliberal.
I got to push back on that slightly because I would argue that there is a heavy authoritarian tendency in the conservative movement in the U.S. So
I mean, like, if we're comparing the current political status to the political status at 1200 AD, yeah. So
I mean,
both political parties have moving.
And if we find oil, we will save the fuck out of you. That works too. I do not think that is going to happen. I think we have become, I hate to say a lazy, we're a lovely society, but I always ask, where is that going to happen? Just point me. Yeah. Oh, you guys can only hear, huh? Da, 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 da. How about now? Is this better?
I think it's lead poisoning at the end of the day. Like that's my best guess.
I don't think
Because he has a double whammy of growing up when there was lead in the pipes, and he's an electrical engineer, so he had leaded solder too that he'd been inhaling / chopping on his whole life. And I wish another Theist would come. We need some more entertainment.
Exactly. Come on.
I can pretend to be a Theist.
Well, it just seems like the two options are either why won't you prove that God doesn't exist, or I guess the guy from 2,000 years ago who they claim raised from the dead. Oh, someone's raising their hand.
Right.
Hey, Booney.
Rat spear?
Oh, he's server muted. Unlucky. There you go.
Oh my goodness.
Yes,
Hello.
indeed. How are you?
How are you guys doing?
You good?
I have a question.
We may have an answer.
Was Moses a human?
He was probably just a
Nope.
myth based on maybe humans that existed, but there probably wasn't a literal Moses.
Do Christians and the Jewish believe Moses was a human?
Do the Jews, the Christians, Mormons, Muslims?
Okay, that's all I'm worried about. Was Moses able to change God's mind in Exodus chapter 32, verses 9 through 14?
I have no idea. What does it say?
I'll answer yes, just for you, just to get this argument along.
Wait, read the verse to us, please.
I hate you. Okay, hold on.
Well, you can't just cite a verse and expect us to know it by heart.
Just start at Genesis 1:1 and you'll work your way.
Yeah, go through the whole Bible so we have all the context.
I'm on my iPhone, so now I have to switch to ChatGPT and read it off. Hold on. Hold on. Now I have to take push to talk off because if I switch the apps, then my push to talk disengages.
So like
Does anybody have a computer? Does anybody have a desktop?
Yeah.
Sorry, T-Jump. Exodus chapter 32, verses 9 through 14. Sorry for the cats in the background. I have 5 cats in front of me waiting to eat.
Listen, you can.
Hey,
you should
go
never
feed 'em,
apologize for cats.
Now I've got
Yeah,
the
go-
iPhone in one hand, and then I have the spoon with the cat food in the other. I'm doing both things.
Podcasting sponsored by cats.
Hey, cats
Yeah,
are
yeah. So Moses was arguing with God and said, "Don't burn the people." Sure.
All right. Are we humans?
Presumably.
We can change God's mind. Boom. We can live a hedonistic lifestyle, get to the gates of heaven, and debate God. And teach up your debate, bro. You'll probably be better than Moses. You definitely would go into heaven no matter what.
I'm going to get him to create the best of all possibles for everyone.
You'll just confuse him with your moral code, and he'll be like, "Oh, you know what? You're like God mode level, more like more moral, whatever," and he'll just let you into heaven.
And I'll just ask for mozzarella sticks.
No, T-Jump should ask for a world where every potential world only has one-inch potato in it.
Yeah, that'll work. Just the smoke and mirrors will just confuse God. I mean, come on, Moses changed God's mind. Like 1400 BC. I mean, look how much more we educated.
In the Bible, he's not the only one. Many people changed God's mind in the Bible.
Yeah, see, so we're all good, dude. Don't worry about like the God of Abraham.
There are people who are so bad they convinced God to flood the entire planet he created.
Yeah, the problem is that they just weren't good debaters back at that time. So you just need to be a good debater, and you're good.
They succeeded. They succeeded in changing God's mind from not flooding the planet to flooding the planet. So they're great debaters. Phenomenal.
They weren't self-aware debaters.
Okay. I have a question for you, Mr. Theist. Can God sin?
Can God sin? Let me see. Well, I mean, now that I've brought God down to earth, I would say yes.
Okay.
And that's my show.
Yeah, no, because if you said no, I was just going to say it's also, wiping out 99.9% of life on Earth. Earth wasn't an act of wrath, but you were surprisingly consistent, so I'll take it.
Yeah, no, this is a pivotal moment for religion. We have just brought God from the heavens down to earth. Now you're gonna have to come up with another God theist.
There's a better example, like there's the guy who was wrestling God and God had to grab him by the balls to win because he was losing.
What? Is that a real story?
That is a real story.
Sounds like when I was in jiu-jitsu class and someone started pinching because they were losing.
Yep.
Yeah, so look, come on, guys. You gotta like theists, and I consider myself a theist, given some very basic framework of the God we're gonna talk about. I'm like a chameleon. I can change from theist to deist to agnostic. This is what gives Dark Dawkins such a hard time when debating them. Okay, I'm going to go to feed my cats now. Thank you, Abysmal IX, T-Jump, Amy. Great talking with you guys. Everybody have a great Sunday.
You too.
Yeah, you too.
Bye.
All right, bye.
Yo, really quickly, I just want to say, nobody here is actually an atheist, right? Because that's like an anti-theist. Like, it's agnostic.
Nope, atheist and anti-theist are two different things.
And I'm both.
Oh,
I'm
okay,
an atheist
okay.
and I'm an anti-theist.
Okay, could you explain the difference to me? Because I'm kind of new to the whole shebang.
If we're talking about belief and knowledge, you can be agnostic or you can be Gnostic, as in I believe something with certainty or I don't. And we're talking about knowledge when it comes to atheism and theism, or I have it backwards. We have it. But so when I mean I'm an agnostic atheist, I am saying that I do not believe in God. but I don't have absolute certainty, and so I'm agnostic. And when I mean an anti-theist, I am saying that I think that religion is bad for society, at least overall.
So, like,
Yes.
it's not necessarily anti-God; it's anti-organized religion, or
No. So anti-theism can be anti-God or anti-religion. Atheism is just not believing in a God or believing God doesn't exist. And agnosticism is taking the more general position that you don't have any reason to believe one way or the other.
okay, I think that's fair. But then, so with anti-theism, what would be the purpose for being anti-God?
Well, if you think God drowned millions of babies, you probably would be anti-God.
Yeah, it depends on the God. Like, if the God of the Bible exists, I think that we should be against them. And I think we should be against the concept just because of that God of the Bible being so evil. Oh, maybe there's a nice God. We don't know.
What determines the evil in that circumstance? Because
Drowning
isn't
millions
God
of
the
babies.
arbiter of morality?
No. So, like, you can use an independent basis of morality. Like, if you understand philosophy, if morality was grounded in God, that would be subjective morality, not objective morality. So you can say there's an objective morality where drowning babies is wrong. God drowned babies. God is immoral.
Yeah. Okay. I see what you're saying. So by that logic, would you consider God a hypocrite then? Because he would say that you couldn't denigrate
Yes.
as negative.
You don't even need clarification. Is God a
Yeah, I
hypocrite?
just figured.
Yes.
I just wanted to
Yes.
clarify. Yeah. Okay.
Thou shalt not
not-
kill, but then millions murder. Yeah, I can't
Yep.
speak English. Murders millions of people.
Thanks. Yeah. I'm planning on reading the Bible soon, but I just like hearing everyone's opinions
I'm
and
sorry.
stuff, so it's informative.
Why?
What?
I mean, it's a good storybook at least.
Yeah, like
No,
at the very
it's
least,
not.
it's a good book.
No, it's not.
What?
It's terribly written. The stories are boring. They don't follow any kind of a rational flow. Like, there's a story about the angels. There were some guys trying to rape an angel and they hid inside of a hotel, and the guy instead gave him his like wife or daughter or whatever, and they raped her, and then they cut her body into pieces and sent it to every corner of the planet. Like, there's no logical consistency to that story. Like, if you want to read a good story, read some Norse mythology.
Or Greek.
I don't know. I feel like
really good.
most mythology is pretty good, but like the new media of it is kind of mid.
New what?
Media like Rick Riordan and shit is kind of garbage.
I don't know who that is.
Oh, he wrote the
Percy Jackson and
books.
shit. Yeah.
I mean, it's
Harry
just, that's
Potter.
just a story
Harry
book.
Potter is good.
Yeah.
Why are you laughing? That was an amazing story. I hate you.
So is Lord of the Rings.
I mean,
So
Lord of the
No,
Rings.
Lord of the
laughed.
Rings. Lord of the Rings was awful. Like, he had spent like a half a page on genealogies. He introduced a new character and he said, "This guy is the father of this guy, who's the father of this guy, who's the father of this guy," who are no characters you're ever
Okay.
going to hear about ever.
I don't
in the
know.
rest
I
of the
feel like
book.
you're one of the people who hates the Scarlet Letter.
The reason why I say Harry Potter is bad is because the whole concept of Harry being the last Horcrux is stupid.
That was actually good. I liked that.
See,
Why
I
is
thought
that
it was
stupid?
very cliche and narratively unsatisfying.
I did not see that as cliche. I did not see that coming at all. Like, the fact that the build up into how to create Horcruxes, and then that I think there should have been more to it. I think there should have been more steps to how to build a Horcrux, and it just happened to be coincidentally that he did all of the 5 steps or whatever before hitting Harry, and then it would have been clear. I also think J.K. Rowling should have done more into the magic, because the magic was pretty underwhelming most of the books, but it's really hard to make a good system of magic. But it was really good with Harry Potter being the Horcrux. That was a good non-religious shift from the expected magic-y outcome.
I don't know. I feel like if you're
Yes.
reading Harry Potter, you should read Philip K. Dick. I mean, it's just infinitely better.
Well, the light novel I'm reading right now, the concept is that the church, the nobles, and the magic users are opposed to each other, and magic is based on like science. People form like cognitive worldviews. So when sorcerers go to war with each other, instead of just throwing magic at each other, they're also do like scientific experiments. Because if your cognitive world gets shaken too hard, your head explodes.
Which novel are you reading? What light novel
It's
is that?
called. Give me 1 second. I'll tell you the name. Let me just open up my phone. Thrones of Magical Arcana.
All right, I'll have to check that out. Thanks for
It's very good.
thanks for letting me up here and answering my questions rather concisely.
Also, Game of Thrones for like the first few seasons.
I'm not watching Game of Thrones.
It's
Okay.
The books were really good. I really enjoyed the Game of Thrones books.
Too much incest and rape, bro.
Oh well, now
Alright,
it
I'm
sounds
out.
like
I've
Why are
learned way
those? Why are
worse.
those bad? Why are those bad? Why are those bad?
It's only bad when they happen to you.
Hey, man. All I'm saying is, if you enjoy those parts of the show, it feels like kind of a red flag.
I don't think so.
Peace.
How do you think Adam
oh.
and Eve had a baby? In fact, how do you
How do you
think
think-
Noah had a baby?
Yeah, how do you think all of Adam and
He's
Eve's
about
kids
to
had
read the
babies?
Bible. He's about to read
Yeah,
the Bible.
Bro,
complaining
you
about
guys are giving me
incest and rape.
spoilers right now. I don't even know yet.
I'm sorry.
Gotta-
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, peace.
You should read him the verse where they're hung like donkeys and have ejaculate like horses.
Oh my.
Holy based. Okay. Peace.
That is
What was the one
unironically
where
the verse.
Lot's daughters got him drunk?
Yep.
Listen, this is called biblical morality.
Yeah, the ejaculate like horses verse is actually what got the Bible banned from schools in Utah based on their decency standard or whatever.
That's it. Like really, there's so many worse things, and that's the one.
Yep. Well, because they claim that the other books had graphic depictions of sex or sexual nature, things of sexual nature. And so I said this is, pretty blatantly sexual.
All right. What is up, Disciple Day? Are you server muted? No.
Oh, he was locally muted.
Yeah, I
Chris, what
Hi.
is up?
Hey, this is a groundbreaking day. I've signed up for Discord apparently a while ago and just didn't remember, but it's my first time ever actually using it. So it's I feel young again.
I was gonna
Well,
say,
hello.
do you feel
It's a
trendy?
different. This is I feel trendy. This is a different type of playground.
That is for sure.
Do you feel hip?
I do. I feel hip. So.
We sell coffee here. It's in the back.
Good. As long as you don't have Kool-Aid, I've learned my lesson. There.
Yeah, no Kool-Aid.
All right, good. We're good then.
But I love
So,
drinking the Kool-Aid.
Well, keep it away from me. That stuff is poison, even without the poison.
But how else are you going to catch the comet?
Yeah, and the arsenic's what adds all the flavor.
Yeah, the with the comet, was it Kool-Aid? I don't know if it was Kool-Aid with the comet though. Was it? Or Hail Bop? Did they end up? I forgot.
Well, that's why they didn't catch it, because they didn't use the Kool-Aid.
Oh, that's true. That's a good point. That is a good point. So, but anyway, just saying hi. I'm learning my way to navigate this space. So, nice to meet everyone.
Yep.
I wish I could say this is a safe space, but it is here with all the atheists.
Yeah, we're spooky and scary. We're trying to undermine your society and trans all your children.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. That we'll see what happens. Not too concerned about that, but good luck. Good luck.
Yeah, no, I was joking.
Well,
Yeah, I know.
Once, and I think it was it Daniel Hachikachu? It was one of the guys who, when they were debating, they said atheists want to put everyone into pods. I thought that was pretty cool.
Pods? Like Keurig pods? Or
like full-on Matrix?
Matrix pods.
I haven't heard that one before. That's new to me.
See, you don't know your mission objective.
I don't. My bad. I must have missed a memo that day.
Amy, did you have to go to your party now?
I do. I probably should leave. In fact, all right, I'm going to send love to everyone out there. Everyone on T-Jump's channel should be liking, following, and subscribing. And yeah, sending love to Ix, Abyssal, Chris, S, I. Send love to all of you. Actually,
Bye,
I'm just
Amy, we love you.
realizing half your names up there are longer and I just can't see them. Nonetheless, I'm sending so much love to you guys. Bye. And all right, I am sending love to all of you. Please remember to like, follow, and subscribe. I hope you guys have a lovely Sunday. We will be coming back for more streams. However, we're going to be doing this, I think, every week. And so sending love to you all. I don't actually have like a closing thing. And so I'm going to do maybe I'll just do the Call Me Skeptical one, since that has all the people and I should have been shouting them out. So I'll shout them out. I love you all.